this presents a very interesting problem, and this is one of my favorite apps and probably one of the most underrated apps. I have not heard anyone talk about this app. I found it through a Reddit post. Hi Slayers, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eileen, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about some apps that I think will help you be more productive in the upcoming 2025 year. I am very excited by all of these apps. These are all apps that I have used and that I love, and some of them I think are pretty underrated, so I'm very excited to be talking to you about them. I really think that they're going to help you with your productivity and improving your habits in the upcoming year, and also just general life, because let's face it, life is scary. So if you're like me and you've started scouring the internet for tips on how to make your 2025 new year be more productive and better, and you've maybe fallen down a slight rabbit hole that's a little bit unhealthy and you keep watching YouTube videos about it over and over again, then this video is for you. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so this first app is great if one of your New Year's resolutions is to get out of bed earlier. And I often make this New Year's resolution every year, which is kind of sad, but you know what? At least I keep trying. So this app is called Alarmy, and basically it makes you scan a QR code of something to turn off the alarm. So I have one in my bathroom, it's on my dental floss, and I have to scan the QR code to get up out of bed, and it's really freaking annoying, but it does work. It's worked for me pretty well. I haven't had any issues with it like not going off, which would suck, but just in case, since it is like a third-party app, I still set a second alarm just in case. However, to go along with that, I also recommend putting your phone farther away from you, because I learned that if you turn your phone off, it stops the alarm, but then you just don't get out of bed and then you miss work and then it's just bad. So I recommend you having it a little bit farther from you, and then you have to get up and then really get up to go turn off the alarm. And this works especially well if you have roommates, because you don't want to be that roommate. We all know which one I'm talking about. To go along with that, the start of the new year always makes me want to try to make a new routine and try to get up early and try to plan everything out, but I actually have like time blindness, and like I'll get up and I'll just be like, this will take me 5 seconds, and it actually takes me like 20 minutes. So I use this app whenever I make a new routine, and it's called Routinery, and basically you can set timers for each individual part of your morning routine or your night routine, and it'll count down the timer to tell you how long you're supposed to be doing that thing. So it's really good to, one, understand how much time you actually need in the morning, and two, understand when that time actually starts and stops. I don't use it every day. You absolutely can, but I found that I didn't have the energy to do it every day, but I did start it whenever I'm trying to build new habits and build a new routine, and it's very, very helpful for that. Okay, so another very common resolution is to read more and to track your books and that sort of thing. So one of my favorite apps to use to track all the books I read in a year is called Storygraph. One, because it's not Amazon and Goodreads is owned by Amazon, so I like not supporting Amazon very much, and two, because it gives me really cool stats about everything I've read. So I'll pop up on the screen a couple of cool stats and you can see just how many romance books I've read this year. But I really like that it shows you your most read author and how many pages you've read and what kind of genres you like, and I just think it's a very, very cool app. It's very well designed, and I love inputting all of my reviews in there and keeping track of my books in that way. And I also go to it for reviews just like I used to do for Goodreads, and I just think it's a much prettier app and it needs to be known by more people, and I've put a lot of my friends on it because we're all such nerds and such readers, and it's very similar to Goodreads, but better. So if you're looking for a new app to start your new year, I would definitely recommend Storygraph. Okay, so next I'm going to be talking about a couple of apps that are very, very popular, and so you've probably heard of them, but they're lifesavers nonetheless, and don't worry, I still have a lot more underrated apps to talk to you about. But starting with the popular ones, Google Calendar, my love. I love Google Calendar. It's so easy to use. I love that I can have reminders on there. I love that I can make Google Meets on there. I love that it connects to Google Tasks, to my Gmail, and I love that I can access it from a web browser instead of having to download a separate app. I just find it very easy to use both on mobile and on my desktop, but really any calendar app works as long as you're using some sort of digital calendar or physical calendar. I feel like calendars are very helpful. The second very popular app that I love to use is Notion, and I have a video of me showing off my Notion from last year. Let me know if you want me to make a new one though, but I do love Notion, and it's really where I love to organize my whole life, from my finances to my videos to just like my personal notes. It's an amazing app and it's so robust, and I love organizing things with it and making tables, and it's just a really, really good app. It is a little bit hard to use, and I'm sure some of you have probably tried to use it in the past because it's very well known on YouTube in the productivity landscape area. So don't feel discouraged. There's templates that you can get, and it's really worth taking the time to learn, in my opinion. But I do have a second app that I love just as much, and it's called Xtiles. Very similar to Notion, but a lot more fun, a lot more cutesy, and very easy to use. And I do have a full video on it that was sponsored, by the way, so you should definitely go check it out. It's very fun and a great app to use in the new year if you want to start fresh. So basically, anything you can do in Notion, you can do in Xtiles, and it has more groups, and I really like the layout of it. I feel like it's very bullet journal-esque and very inspiring to use. I love an app that is super aesthetic, and that is definitely Xtiles. So if you're looking for basically just an all database place where you can organize a lot of different lists, a lot of different tables, a lot of different tasks in your life, then both Notion and Xtiles are great apps to use, and I recommend you checking out both to see which one works best for you. But really, I love them so much, and I just love having that sort of like digital organization space to keep myself going, because I think if I didn't have that, I would just explode. And it's worth noting that both Notion and Xtiles have both free and premium plans, and each one comes with a little bit something different, but it is possible to use both in the free version. The next very popular app is called Canva, and it's also a free app with a premium version, and I personally use the premium version because I think it's very worth it. But basically, Canva is a design tool, and it has a bunch of free templates on there and a bunch of stickers that you can use. I've used it a lot for PowerPoints, I've used it a lot for thumbnails, I use it a lot to convert things from PDFs to PNGs, to take out backgrounds from images. It's very, very helpful, and it's a very powerful tool, and I'm very impressed with it. It has a lot of text capabilities, and yeah, I found this back when I used to run a blog, which is kind of embarrassing, and it's no longer available, but I used to try to run a blog. I would use it to like design my pins and stuff, and so I've been using it for a long time, and it's a very helpful app if you are someone that needs to make flyers, or needs to do social media promotion, or is just looking to get into design. It's a super quick way to be productive that doesn't have all of the paywalls that Photoshop has, and also the complexity that Photoshop has. Photoshop is freaking hard, and so this is a very user-friendly alternative, and a cheaper alternative as well, I believe. So also, if you're a student or an educator, you might qualify for a student or educator discount, so make sure to check that out. Okay, this next app is actually, I don't think it's really an app. I'm pretty sure it's just a website, but it's called When to Meet. And basically, if you're trying to coordinate a bunch of different people for a meeting, or for like a club or something, or just like, I don't know, to schedule some time to chat, this app lets each person input their availability, and then they can see where other people's availabilities are, so that they can kind of try to line up a place where you guys are good to meet. And it's helped me in so many different scenarios with so many different big groups of people, and I love telling people about it who are trying to like coordinate things, because they're like, oh my god, this is so helpful, and it really is. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's super easy to use, it's free to use, and it's a great way to see who's available and to make things more efficient. No more wasting time being like, this date works for me and this date works for me. Does this date work for you? Oh, it doesn't work for me. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose it. Instead, you can just put it in When to Meet. Okay, and then this next app is called Demify, and it is one of the paid apps. I believe it's like $7 on the App Store, but in my opinion, it was worth it. And basically, it turns your home screen into a dumb phone, and I have a whole video about this and why I think it's so useful and helpful in being productive in the new year, because let's face it, we're all trying to be on our phones a little bit less, and making your phone less stimulating is a great way to do that. So using this app, it turns my home screen into basically just a list. It just makes my phone low-key kind of boring, and I don't want to spend time on a boring device. So if you're really trying to be off your phone, I recommend that app. I also recommend the app Refocus for this, because this sets time limits in which certain apps are blocked, but it's not like screen time where you can like keep clicking out of it. It's more like this is a set time that the app is going to be blocked, but you will get this app later. So it's helpful because I don't really understand when I set my screen time to like an hour. I don't really like picture what an hour actually is in my head, and when I'm scrolling, I'm definitely not picturing what an hour is in my head. But knowing that my phone from like 9 to 5 is off limits for Instagram is a lot more helpful to me, because I can be like, oh, I know I'm going to use this app, but just later. And if I do for some reason need to use this app, then I have to go into the other app first and I have to really think about, why am I trying to go into Instagram right now? Is it because I need to check a DM? Or is it because I want to scroll on Reels? But this presents a very interesting problem, and this is one of my favorite apps and probably one of the most underrated apps. I have not heard anyone talk about this app. I found it through a Reddit post. So basically the problem is you block Instagram from yourself, but then you still want to DM with people on Instagram because that's just how you communicate with people. You want to know if someone's texting you, if it's like a business deal, or if it's just like your friend trying to send you a reel, but you can't do that if Instagram is blocked from you. So there's this app called Beeper, and it basically connects to your Instagram and only shows you your DMs. You can't access any of the rest of Instagram, it just shows you your DMs. I believe it works for other apps as well, but it definitely works for Instagram because that's what I use it for. And so I can go into Beeper whenever I'm trying to DM someone, and I don't have to open Instagram and get sucked into the Reels. And it also helps when I look at my screen time at the end of the day, I can see how much was actually spent like interacting with people and how much was spent doom scrolling until I fell asleep. So this app is super, super helpful and I'm really grateful for it, and I'm so like blown away by how cool it is. Like, it's definitely in its like developing stages still, and it's not like an official app, I think, but it does work pretty well and I do really like it. And then my last app today is a very simple to-do list app. Sometimes you just don't have the time to make a whole Notion database to make a to-do list, or sometimes you can't find a spare sticky note laying around and you just need something quick to get down your to-do list. And so this app called Tweak, which is very fitting as someone who's low-key a tweaker, and it's just a very simple to-do list app and I really have no complaints. My favorite features of it are that I can really easily like reorder things in the list and on the day, and I can drag it to the specific day that it's on without having to like make a whole calendar or anything. I like the layout of it. It looks like a regular week. It looks good to me. And I really like that it will automatically move tasks that I didn't complete onto the next day, which is super helpful as someone who like hates rewriting things. Now, I pay $4 a month for it, but you don't have to. There is a free version, but the reason I pay $4 a month for it is because it integrates with my Google Calendar, which is super cool. And I get a bunch of colors, so I can customize each to-do list to be a color, which I find very helpful. And I can set reoccurring tasks, which I do every Sunday to like have a Sunday reset and have a checklist of everything that I want. And overall, I don't hear it being talked about a lot. There's a lot of really simple to-do list apps out there, and I've tried a couple of them, but none of them have really stuck with me the way that Tweak has. I think it's something about the UI and just like, I don't know, it's very simple. It works well for me, and I recommend, if you're looking for a simple to-do list app, to use Tweak. Alright Slayers, and that is all that I have for you today. I'm wishing you guys a very productive and a very fun and happy year for 2025. And thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And that is the end of the video, but as I've been doing for the past couple of videos, I've been telling you a little embarrassing fact about myself at the end of the video for no reason at all, but just to humiliate myself. So I went to go see Romeo and Juliet on Broadway in New York with Kit Connor and Rachel Zegler, and it was amazing and beautiful and spectacular, and I loved it. And then in the first act, I was like super excited, and then the second act started happening, and I realized I was a little bit hungry. And in the second act in Romeo and Juliet is when all the like death happens and it's like very serious and sad and silent, and my stomach was really hungry. And oh my god, did I, you know like when you just feel the beginnings of a rumble? I was just feeling that the entire second act. I'm pretty sure I saw none of the actual play in the second act, and I was just gripping my stomach for dear life, begging to God that in the moment where it was silent, that my stomach was not going to let out the loudest rumble. Luckily, it didn't. I did burp a little bit, which was kind of embarrassing, but like only a little bit, and I'm pretty sure most people didn't hear. But like, even though I didn't actually happen, I was just mortified the whole time anyways, so it was kind of embarrassing to just sit there like clenching my stomach. So yeah, not my finest moment. Remember to eat something before you see a show. And yeah, anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!